Welcome to Fight Club 24/7. My name's Johnny Rashman. Right, let's get straight into it. I watched the fight back and I scored at a draw. Right? Now, I'm not going to go through every round individually. I've already done that. But I dissected it. I turned the commentary off. I watched the fight eagle-eyed. I looked at all the punches, right? And I got it a draw. Now, I'm hearing some people say they gave it to Francis by 2-3 rounds. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I just think you're playing into the fact that Francis did a lot better than people thought, right? And you can analyse it and you can say why you gave your reasons, but at the end of the day, I was generous to Francis with this. I would say I was biased towards Francis, to be honest, and I still couldn't give him the win. Now, it's embarrassing for Tyson. It's embarrassing for me for how I predicted the fight. It's embarrassing for boxing. But Francis didn't win the fight. He just didn't win the fight. There was a lot of really close rounds. On my scorecard, the first 2 rounds, I gave it to Tyson Fury. Again, they were close. You know, could you really give them to Francis? Maybe. I don't think you could have, to be honest with you. So first 2 rounds, Tyson Fury, I did 10-9. 3 and 4, obviously 10-8 with a knockdown, then 10-9 to Francis, then 5-6, I had 10-9 to Tyson Fury. Now, they were close, but if you watch those rounds, what Tyson was doing early on, and this is why he got caught, was he would throw the left hand right hook, right, and he'd fall into the shot, and Ngannou, to his credit, had the boxing IQ to counter him with the left hook. And if you watch the fight again, he was trying it over and over again, but as the rounds progressed, Tyson would throw the left hook right hand, but he'd keep his shape and stand at range, because he's a tall fighter. He wasn't falling in, so Francis was hitting fresh air. Right, he was. Ngannou was hitting fresh air. Tyson would do 1-2, right, and he lifted Francis up a few times, right. Believe me, it would have hurt him. He has got a chin, Ngannou, right, but he was hurting him, and he wasn't there to get counted. So Tyson adapted. He did. So those rounds, Tyson was throwing the jab. He was going to the body. He was okay. He wasn't busy. He wasn't busy enough. Right, he should have been more active, but he was nicking those rounds just with eye-catching shots, and he was throwing more. The rounds after that, I gave it 10-9 to Francis. 7 and 8, I gave it to Ngannou. I did. Again, they were close, but you know there was times where Tyson was scrambling on the floor, and people are looking at that and they're seeing Tyson on the floor, or maybe being hurt a few times, and they're thinking, well, that should be the reflection of the whole fight, but it's not. You have to go round by round. Just because you have 10 seconds of success doesn't mean you're going to win a 10-round boxing match. Round 9, 10-9 Fury. Now, round 10, this is really a contentious one because I scored it 10-10. Like, I know it's not the norm in boxing, but I couldn't give it anyone. They just didn't throw enough punches in the last round. I certainly couldn't give it Francis, right? Anyone who's saying they gave that last round to Francis, I'm sorry. You're just trying to please people, to be quite honest with you, right? I had it 10-10. I couldn't give it Tyson and I couldn't give it Francis. If I had to give it anyone, it'd be the champion, because there's that saying, you have to beat the champion conclusively, right? And that just didn't happen, and that's why I got the draw. Now, yes, it is embarrassing. It is. But I still can't give Francis the win, and all these cries for robbery and this, it's nonsense. It's not. You can't say a close fight is a robbery. You have to take your emotions away from it and how well Francis did, and the knockdown, and your hate for Tyson Fury or your dislike for Tyson Fury. Just take that all away, and you look at two-man boxing. It's the heavyweight world champion against a guy who is having his pro boxing debut. And at the end of the day, Francis can say robbery all he likes, but he had that fight to win, right? Those last 2 rounds, it wasn't on the judges. It was up to him to throw enough punches to win that fight. Tyson was clearly gassed, and so was Francis. He was gassed from the 6th round onwards, but he showed a poker face. I thought he would be hands down and gasping, and he wasn't. He kept the gloves up. Yes, he was like, he was gasping a bit, but he kept his shape very well, to his credit, right? And he took shots. He did. People saying he wasn't hurt in the fight, he didn't have markings. Listen, there was times he got lifted off his bloody feet, right? And the elbow, yes, That's, for me, it should have been a disqualification. It looked like an elbow or a point off. And obviously with the point off, then yeah, I'd give it to Francis. But I can't take the point off. It never happened. So you have to ignore that, right? But at the end of the day, it was up to Francis to go out and beat the champion. It's a boxing match. You have to do that. You can't scream robbery when it's in your hands. That was on you. You didn't throw the punches to win you that fight. At the end of it, just because you hurt him in one round or you had moments of success doesn't mean you won a 10-round boxing match. It doesn't work like that. It's scoring points. If you're always popping him with a jab, right, and someone missing, hitting the glove or hitting the face, and he's throwing the combinations, and the other fighter's hitting fresh air, he's not throwing anything, just because you might have done more damage in 10 seconds of a round doesn't mean you won the other round. It's not how it works. It's scoring points, When Tyson, as bad as he was looking to land the shots. He was looking to throw the jab. He was cleaner with the jab towards the end of the fight. Now, Francis up close, yes, he hurt him for seconds of the round, but that's not enough to win you a 3-minute round, right? Now, yeah, I can see people saying Francis won okay, but 3 rounds and 4 rounds, robbery, it's not that, right? Francis did very well. Clearly, Tyson overlooked him, right? Let's dissect it, right? They've come out, the team, and they've said the training camp was good and all that, but they're going to say that on camera, right? There's already been videos before the fight saying what they're going to do and they're going to knock this bum out and blah, blah, blah. So they're not going to come out on camera afterwards and say, yeah, we had a really bad training camp, because it's taking the piss out of the fans. You're getting paid millions of pounds. All the stars there watching you, and what, you can't take training seriously? So they're not going to say that. But there's been a lot of whispers, I've had people telling me certain things after the fight. It's always after the fight. But there's a lot of whispers, and the consensus is Tyson overlooked him, right? He took the piss, didn't he? He took the piss, right? I want to know, in regards to Tyson and Tommy Fury, right, who was overseeing their training camps? Now, we've been told Sugar Hill was there for 5 weeks. Okay. Well, who was there before that? Because we've seen video footage of Tommy and Tyson all training together. Who is overseeing it? Because whoever it was has just been saying, yes, 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 you're the man, you're the man, you're the man. Who was that person to say, right, fucking come in the office, boys, right, you're taking the piss, you've got your reputations on the line, you've got millions of pounds on the line, right, you're in danger of overlooking these people, you need to start taking this seriously. Who was that voice? Clearly it wasn't John Fury. Clearly there was no one there telling them this. Who was that voice? Because with the murmurs after the fight of not taking training seriously, and Tommy came in out of shape and he needed a weight cut specialist and all this. Well, that's on you, boys. I don't want to hear those excuses. You're getting paid millions of pounds. You're talking the talk. You're talking and talking and talking, but I ain't seeing much action in that ring. Those 2 performances from Tommy and Tyson were embarrassing for the sport. Embarrassing. And you've got people like me predicting these fights and everyone else, and people betting on the outcome, and you can't even come in shape. It's not acceptable. They've embarrassed the sport, both of them. Now, they won't care because they're getting paid the millions. they think they care. Listen, they'll go home and they'll be laughing and joking, high-fiving, the millions are in the bank, it's secure, they don't care, right? But who was overseeing the training camps? Who was telling them to rein it in and to show a bit of professionalism, right? Because the 2 performances, against KSI and against Francis Ngannou, yes, the 2 men did a lot better than we thought, but to be quite honest with you, they were stinkers, those performances. Poor, no urgency, technically bad. Tommy, listen, he can go on about KSI holding. Let me tell you something. He was initiating a lot of those clinches. Believe me, he was holding him just as much as KSI was holding him back. So don't want to hear that excuse. He was awful, right? And Tyson he looked gassed, didn't he? He just looked like there was nothing there. He just looked deflated from the first bout to the last, right? And yes, he scraped the win. Not a win, really. It's embarrassing, but what can you say? It's frustrating because, you're relying on these men. They're boxers. They're meant to be boxers, right? They can't put a training camp in, but the YouTubers and the MMA fighter can. Now, if we're looking back now in the cold light of day, what's really gone on? Right? No matter how good Francis was on the night, right? And I'm not buying into the fact he's going to beat Wilder and Joe Joyce as a world-class boxer. He's not a world-class boxer, right? Now, it may sound stupid this to some people, but just because he nearly beat the heavyweight world champion of the world in a one-off fight doesn't make him a world-class boxer. I know it sounds stupid, I might sound like I'm contradicting myself. We have to see him regularly fight boxers because he'll get found out very quickly. Now there's data of him. Fighters can prepare for a 10-round fight with him. He's extremely open for the right hand. Deontay Wilder would take his head clean off his shoulders, right? All this, that. Well, Wilder doesn't have the best ability. Okay, against the best in the world like Tyson and, and these fighters, but against mediocre fighters, he wins, right? For me, Ngannou, I'm going to say this again, he's still not British level. I would have to see him fight again. And if he fights Wilder, he fights another 3 fights against world-class fighters and they go the distance, then fine, I will hold my hands up, say I was wrong. I hold my hands up anyway because he was a lot better than I thought. I mean, the footage, the training footage, I did ridicule it a bit. It did look bad, right? But on the night, he kept the shape well. He showed good footwork. He showed the IQ to try and counter Tyson. But if you watch it back, there wasn't really much. He threw a few body shots, but it wasn't enough. He wasn't setting things up. Towards the end, Tyson was popping him with the jab and he was staying out of range, right? And he didn't have the IQ to break that down in Ngannou. Otherwise, he would have. He would have walked him down. I'm hearing he walked Tyson down. He didn't. He had 5 seconds of success in a few rounds. He didn't walk him down every second of every minute of the fight. Do you know what I mean? It's a big overreaction. And you have to take your emotions away from it. You really do. But as I say, I just don't believe Francis is a world-class boxer. I think he's a world-class puncher. I got it wrong about, I said, yes, he's obviously got power, but will he be able to get his feet in position to land the shots? And he did, to be fair. The footwork was decent. Like, he's not a complete novice, what I thought. I said central area level and all that, and I still think, like me, even if he fought a central area champion, I'd still back them to win. Like, I would, because he's only had one pro boxing match, and I know it's against one of the best heavyweight in the world, and it may sound stupid, but it was a one-off fight, and without me taking anything away from Francis, it really was a case of Tyson overlooking him, not training correctly, and Francis religiously training, obviously taking it extremely seriously, itemising everything of Fury. They came up with a plan. I thought Mike Tyson was a bit of a gimmick. I still don't know how much input he had into it. He was getting paid a lot of money. But Dewey Cooper clearly got his tactics spot on. Like, he is a boxing man as well. I mean, John Fury was very disrespectful to him in the press conference, saying, "Who are you?" With all due respect to John Fury, mate, you can't be telling people in the game who are actually in the game, who are training people, they're not just shouting for views. Do you know what I mean? It's very disrespectful to say that in the pre-fight press conferences. But they came up with a game plan, and it was a perfect storm of Tyson overlooking him, Francis performing to his best, coming up with a good game plan, being better than what we thought. If there was a rematch, I have no doubt Tyson would play with him, right? I would. And you also have to look at the case that he came in at a career heaviest, right? A career heaviest he came in at. That tells you he wasn't training properly, no matter what he says. Don't bullshit me with you at the best training camp when you're coming in at a career heaviest. Because when you're fighting someone like Francis, you need to be on the move. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be standing and trading with a big power puncher, and that's what he was doing, right? So if they fought again, he would be considerably lighter because he'd be popping the jab, he'd be moving, he'd be fluid. He just wasn't fluid, wasn't he? It was just a poor performance. So that tells you everything you need to know. That was his career heaviest, right? And if you look at the weights against Chisora, 268, 264 against White, 277 Wilder 3, 273 Wilder 2, 254 Wallen. Okay, 277 Wilder 3. That was previously his heaviest, but he was looking to cause damage in that fight, This, he was 277, I think, and a half. So this was his heaviest. So that tells you it was his career heaviest weight. And the 277 against Wilder in the third fight, he had problems in that camp, didn't he? He had a lot of problems, right? We all heard the stories, we had problems with family members and stuff, so that shows you that was a career heaviest. Just look at that was a bad performance. So in the cold light of day, if you're looking at the Wilder 3 fight, which was 277, we all know the problems he had pre-fight. He had problems with family members, personal problems. He had severe issues, and he still says that now, and he still got the win, right? Which is why I can say you can have a question in his heart. So if you're looking at this fight against Ngannou, it was heavier. It was 277.7 pounds. So that tells you he never trained right because he came in as his career heaviest. That tells you everything you need to know, right? And again, I don't want to take anything from Francis, but please stop with it. He'll beat Wilder. I mean, I heard Ariel Helwani, I saw him tweet something saying, oh, that performance, that version of Francis would beat Wilder in this one and that. And it's like, come on. What are you talking about, mate? Please stop. It's just like over the top. And I can understand it, and you're in the moment, and look, I'm a big MMA fan. I am. I report on MMA. But I have to say it how it is. He is not a world-class boxer. He put in a great performance, maybe a world-class performance against Tyson Fury, but in the cold light of day, Tyson was very bad. He clearly never trained. Right? I'm not making the excuses. These are the facts. Right? Let's see him fight proper boxers. AJ Wilder, they'd beat him. He's not hard to prepare for now. You can see he's a power puncher, but he was conserving his energy very smartly, but fighters will know to put the pace on him, right? Because he was worried about his gas tank, Francis, right? Because that's why he never went all out. Because he would have if he could have, he didn't. Right? It wasn't just a case of, I'm going to beat Fury by counter-punching. It wasn't. He knew he had to reserve that gas tank, because if he would have went all out, he would have been fucked in the later half of the fight. And smartly, he did conserve it well. But he was extremely tired, which is why the punches, if you look at the stats, the output was just lower and lower and lower and lower as the fight went on. So fighters will know that. They'll prepare for that. They'll put the pressure on him later on in the fight. Tyson couldn't because he wasn't fit enough. So you have to take your emotions away. Right? Great performance from Francis. Made us look stupid. But he's not going to beat world-class boxers. He's not a world-class boxer. Right? And if he proves me wrong, again, I'll have to eat humble pie and I'll say, okay, fine. Right? But I will be vindicated when he next fights a boxer. I don't want him to lose. I'm not just saying this, but I'm giving my opinions, right? I'm big enough to say when I'm wrong, but I believe time will prove me right. When he fights a boxer who comes in shape and prepares properly, a world-class boxer, they will easily dispose of him, because he's not hard to prepare for. You've got to watch for the power, but apart from that, he's extremely open to right hands. Okay, he fights decent as a southpaw, to be fair, but you put the pressure on him, you'll get him out of there. Right, got a good chin, I'll admit that, but Tyson didn't throw enough. The shots that he threw, he did hurt him, but it wasn't enough. I think when you come in shape, when someone puts the pressure on him, they'll get him out of there. But the Deontay Wilder fight, I'd love to see. I would. I would really like to see that, because I know Wilder will just send him to hell with that right hand. Francis, listen, you can say he's got a chin, and he has, but there's having a chin and is taking Deontay Wilder's power. There's not a human being on this planet who has a chin that can take a concussive right hand from Deontay Wilder and with all the force and not be rendered unconscious. Right? Against Tyson, obviously he got hurt. He was hurt, but there were cuffing shots. They were hit the shoulder and hit the head, or hit the head and the body. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't bang like a Hellenius knockout, or the knockouts you see. If he hits you bang on that chin, you're going to sleep. Believe you me. But that, I want to see it. I would love to see Wilder and Ngannou now, and that's fair play to Francis that I'm actually talking like this, because before the fight I was saying he's just a complete novice. He's just going to gas. Now after the fight I'm saying I want to see the Wilder fight. So he's made me say this, which is fair play to him, right? But he never won the fight. It was a draw. on my scorecard. And Tyson and Tommy, they just, I don't think they'll care much, to be quite. I think Tyson will. I think Tommy is what he is. You know, he's benefiting from extreme luck, being at the right place at the right time. You know, he works hard as well, the kid. I know I'm saying about doesn't come in shape, but, you know, he is putting himself in these positions. So I don't want to hate on him too much, but he has had fortune that not many people get, you know, being born with the Fury name, being in an era where YouTube boxing exists, not being good enough to be any type of pro boxer, but being poor enough to fight YouTubers. It's just a perfect storm for him, and he must just wake up every day and thank God. And I don't blame him for doing that. You know, fair play to him. But they've made the millions. I've had enough of them. I don't hear from them for months, to be honest. Till we get that Usyk fight on. I've had enough of Tyson. I've had enough of Tommy. I've had enough with Big John. I love them all. I love watching them. I might critique them at times. As I say, I'm a big Tyson Fury fan. I've always said it. I will back it up. Right? Anyone who says I'm a hater, I'd say you're talking shit, because there's a lot of content of me praising Tyson Fury. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to be yes. And you can ban me from anything. I don't really care, right? Because I don't rely on going to the shows anyway. So I'll always give my opinion, but I've had enough of them. Don't hear the names mentioned again. Right, obviously, I might do a few more videos about this, dissecting and what's next, but we need to see the Usyk fight. You know, that has to happen now. It will happen. They've signed contracts. It'll happen, right? But I'm going to go through in a different video what happens in that fight now after seeing it. As I always say, Usyk will provide him serious problems. Right, let me know what you think. Have any of you watched it back again? And be honest, how did you score it? Like, comment, subscribe, let me know.